It's the first trading day of the week, and it's great to have you join us on this edition of Business Incorporated. You're welcome to the program. I am Bolaji Akinwale. Today on the show, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari advocates for made-in-Nigeria products. Also on the show, all is set for the establishment of the Development Bank of Nigeria, plus a look at the local debt markets. Okay, let's begin with the call by Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari urging the citizens to embrace made-in-Nigeria products in order to boost local manufacturing and increase export. President Buhari made this known at the opening session of the 22nd edition of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group in Abuja.
The summit process has endured over the years and through successive governments. It has in the process strengthened the social relationship between the public and private sectors of our economy. I am also delighted that you have chosen your summit being made in Nigeria, which lies at the heart of so many of the efforts we are making to lead us through these troubled times and to lay a firm foundation for the future.
Still on the summit, Nigeria's Minister for Budget and Planning, Senator Udo Udoma, is saying that everyone should be involved in moving the country forward. Others spoke about the need to increase more jobs for the citizens.
As the chairman of the board, the public sector this year, represented by my ministry, the Ministry of Budget and National Planning, has been taking a much more proactive role in the organization of recent summits. The public sector is also beginning to accept the private sector as true partners in the development of Nigeria. For instance, the public sector used to talk about having exclusive control of the commanding heights of the economy. We concede, and it is now accepted, that there is no sector that the private sector should be excluded from participating in. For instance, we all now agree that the private sector has a role to play in such previously considered no-go areas, such as telecommunications, postal services, power and water supply and distribution, and even the provision of rail, road, and ports infrastructure.
As part of our commitment towards ongoing efforts by the government to create jobs, the Nigerian Economic Summit the Summit Group has assisted the Jobs Creation Unit in the Office of the Vice President of Nigeria, a private sector-driven initiative to create jobs. It is anchored on 5 cardinal areas: ICT, construction, agriculture, retail, as well as clean and renewable energy. The Jobs Creating Unit, JCU, is expected to create jobs through the private sector by identifying linkages within the 5 cardinal areas that can be leveraged on. Several projects that incorporate the development of new business ecosystems have been mapped out, and collaborative strategies to ensure that they are delivered have commenced. We have also, through on NEST 21 recommendations, through the direct collaboration with a number of ministries, we had very productive meetings with the following ministers: Science and Technology, Water Resources, Power, Works and Housing, Industry, Trade and Investment, Environment, and Finance.
Thank you very much.
Smartphone giant Samsung has reportedly stopped production of its Note 7 phone amid claims that replacement devices are still at risk of catching fire. News agencies reported Samsung had temporarily halted production after talks with safety regulators. Samsung told the news agency that it was adjusting the production schedule to ensure quality and safety matters. The company has been forced to issue new models of the smartphone following complaints of faulty batteries. It issued a recall of the Galaxy Note 7 in September and later assured customers that the fixed devices were safe. But there have been several reports of replacement phones starting to emit smoke. And out of the market, starting from Asia, where the numbers were mixed on Monday, with falling crude oil prices weighing on Australian oil majors' shares. Down under, talking about the ASX 200, it closed up 0.15% at over 5,400 points, buoyed by the materials sub-index up 0.4%, and the financial sector, which was higher by 0.47%. The Australian benchmark's gains were offset by losses in its energy sub-index, which fell 0.81%. Among Australian oil majors, Santos fell 2.8%, Oil Search was lower by 1.46%, and Origin Energy slid 1.07%. Crude oil prices recovered from earlier losses of more than 1%. U.S. crude futures were trading down 0.70% at $49.44 a barrel, while global benchmark Brent was down 0.65% at $51.60. In South Korea, the Kospi finished up 0.15% to over 2,000 points, recovering from earlier losses of more than 0.53%, while mainland and Chinese markets were higher, resuming trade on Monday after the Golden Week hiatus. The Shanghai Composite closed up 1.45 at 3,048 points. Let's move over now to the European markets, where the numbers were mixed in early trade as investors remain cautious following a weak U.S. jobs report on Friday and falling oil prices. Adding to this is the market's reaction to the U.S. vice presidential debates. Now let's see how the markets are doing at the moment as Conrad Busen, who is the WTV financial correspondent, joins me from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Good afternoon, Conrad. Good to see you. Now, the U.S. vice presidential debate was held yesterday, with analysts saying there seems to be no clues of its impacts on the markets. Do you agree with this stance, in addition to the effects of the U.S. jobs report released last Friday?
Well, Bulaji, I don't entirely agree with the majority of analysts. It's true there's not a lot of reaction on the financial markets to this discussion between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump yesterday. In terms of asset prices, the Mexican peso is on the rise today. You know, the currency of Mexico has become some sort of proxy way of trading the U.S. presidential election, as Donald Trump wants to build a wall between Mexico and the U.S., and he wants to renegotiate trade agreements between the U.S. and Mexico. So if Trump won the election, it wouldn't be a good thing for Mexico and for its economy. Apart from this, the reaction of traders is a bit more subtle. People I talked to here said that the more and more brutal those encounters between the presidential candidates in the United States become,